Right, so the P38 broke down. Drove 100 miles, left it all day, got back in it to come home, nothing. Fired, oh sorry, turned over, but didn't fire. So, checked on the dashboard and the EML light was on and it was showing 35 mph max on the dash and airbag fault. By that it means steering wheel airbag, not suspension airbag. So, God knows what that was all about. Because of the 35, I instantly thought, oh, it's an air suspension fault. So I put my EAS kicker in, but obviously there was no fault there to rectify, so it wasn't that. So, checked all the fuses, had a quick Google. Google said it's no longer communicating between the ECU and the BECM, so the body control module. And it needs a new one. So, we took the battery off, left it for half hour just in case, had a cup of tea, come back to it, still no joy, exactly the same, put it back on. So yeah, so it got recovered home. Anyway, that evening, in bed, for whatever reason, instead of thinking other thoughts, I was thinking about this, and I remembered it came with a little gizmo. BECM SyncMate. I've never used it, it was just always been in this car. So I googled it, and apparently if you plug that in the OBD, it resyncs the ECU and the BECM. So I've done that, plugged it in, the LED went red, which means it doesn't work. So again, straight away thought, right, so it's not communicating, so it probably is the BECM. So I spoke to our local P38 breaker, James Coleman, on the Owners Club, and he said, sorry, and I messaged him to say, I think I need a BECM, this is what happened, what can you sell me? He went, hang on a minute, before you start buying bits, there's a couple of bits you need to check. Supervising dog. First one is the OBD connector, because if that's got dodgy connectors on it, which is apparently a common thing on these, then the SyncMate won't communicate. So I thought, right, okay, I'll pull it in and I'll check. So I pulled it in, went to check, and where I'd been trying to start it several times, the battery was a bit low. So I thought, right, I'll whack the battery on charge, but just so I don't lose any of the settings and stuff, I'll put another battery in that I have from a Discovery. So I hooked the battery charger up to the car so there was still power to it, took the battery out, put another one in. Obviously, therefore, there'd be no loss of power to the car, so it wouldn't forget anything. I know I'd already taken the battery off for half hour before, but last thing I wanted to do is, I knew I was getting recovered home, so if I plugged it back in and it forgot things, I knew I was going home anyway. So here, I didn't want that to come up, so I kept the power on, obviously through the battery charger while I changed the battery. Anyway, put the other battery on, there we go. Put the original battery on charge, and then I thought, oh, where I had taken the battery off before, it had forgotten all the window settings. It beeps at you every time, and that's frustrating. So I got in the car, put all the windows up and down so it remembers the settings, done the sunroof. Thought, oh, I'll just crank it, turn the key, boom, started. Why? All I can put it down to is the battery was dead. But it cranked. It still made everything work. I don't know. The AA checked the voltage, checked the fuses. Everything was right. I've checked the battery. It shows 12 volts. But other battery on, fired up. Who knows? But anyway, I'm taking that as a win. So, new battery is on order because the one that's on it is slightly smaller from a Discovery. And I'd rather have a massive, decent battery. A 664, I think it is. I'd rather have that, especially, you know, I know it's still summer, but winter will be coming up. I'll be using it for towing, etc. So I'm going to order a massive battery for it, like the original, and go from there. But at the minute, it starts, runs and drives, no problem at all. So that's a win. On to the next thing. Right, so a little update on here. No, a little update in here. Mini's still here, Turbo's still here, MGF's still here. I've pulled the farm trailer out. And as you can see, it was twin rear wheel. It's now only got one per side because both tyres on one side were okay. And the other side, they were both perished and knackered. I could never get the wheel nuts undone. I broke 2 breaker bars. I got one side done, but I couldn't get the other side. Yeah, turns out they're reverse thread. It's an LDV rear axle on this trailer. And the other side... to loosen them, you do them up. So that's why I broke bars. Anyway, so I took the wheels off, swapped one round. So we've now got it rolling. I just need to get 2 tyres to go back on. But anyway, this was filled with chassis. You can see there's only 1 on there now. There was 6 on here that I was keeping for projects and builds. Well, with the change of direction, they've all gone to the scrap. Because the P38 weren't working, the Defender was pulled into action. So that's that. The Safari Disco is gone. That's sold. I offered it for parts. I advertised the interior. The interior sold, and then the guy went, actually, how much for the rest of the truck? And he ended up taking the whole lot, so that was good. So the Safari's gone. The ES Premium's gone. Again, sold that to a chap up north. Don't know what he's going to do with it, but you know, I wanted to keep them all, I wanted to do them all, but realistically, I need to, you know, change. I need to, like I said in my previous video, I need to make some changes. So that's going. This, on the other hand, isn't. The J, turns out it's possibly release day. The registered date is release day of the Discovery 1, so it could be really, really early. So it is rotten, it is disgusting, but it needs to be saved. So that's that one. Range Rover Classics are still down there. Obviously the TD5 soft dash and the hard dash spares car. That will still get done. Freelander needs to go. It's up for sale. Needs to get gone. I don't know why it hasn't sold. Looking at the price of them, I put it up quite high. Then it went down quite low because no one was buying it. But it was still the cheapest that I could find for this age and spec. But I don't know. It's still here. Hopefully when the winter comes, someone might buy it. So that's there. The Caravan has been out. Took it away on a couple of events, so we've been using that. The MG Midget's still down the bottom. I need to get rid of it at some... Sorry, get on with it at some point. And then... right down the bottom there is the Cummins. That's on eBay. If it doesn't sell, then that's going to have to come in and have some more work done to get it to a bit of a better state. At least have it running on the key, not necessarily driving, but at least starting. So that might happen soon. So that's it in here for now. Metro's still here, waiting on a MGTF to come up for sale for cheap for parts. So again, eventually. And the BRM is still here. Been using it daily, no issues at all. Well, I say no issues at all. It's been no problem reliability wise. I have got a knocking on the front. I'm not too worried because the MOT runs out in a fortnight. and we'll be stripping it down to tidy it up ready for next year. I have got another BRM front end, BRM rear beam, and a ZR160 front end, because obviously bigger brakes. All stuff that I've been keeping for this purpose. So I'm just gonna stick it up on the ramp today, see if I can see where the knocking's coming from, because there's the day before its MOT is due, there's the Rover Fest, which I'll be at. So that's its last outing, but I don't really want to travel too far, obviously, with quite a bad knock. Backwards and forwards to home, it's all right. It's normally straight away. As soon as you get in it and move it, it knocks like hell. Once you're out on the road, it's fine. So I just need to check that. And then we'll have a look and see what condition the ones here are compared to these ones. Obviously, if these ones are as bad or as good or whatever as the ones that are on it, we'll just use these, clean all these up, and then ready to go on. So we can leave that at least rolling while that's all being done. But I would like to get the tank out, put a better fuel pump in, possibly put a hole in the floor where the fuel pump goes so you can access it from inside the car, because at the minute you've got to drop the tank. So I'd like to probably make an access panel under the seat so you can get to it. I'd like to have the engine out, clean up all the bay. Now it actually works and it functions and everything fits, I'd like to clean the bay up, get it looking a bit tidier. And then we need to sort bodywork out, because we need the wings doing. I've got a pair of wings, bought a brand new one for this side. I've got a good used one for the other side, so that can be painted. We want to try and stop the rot coming through. So we want to get the boot lid off. It's quite crusty on the inside there, so we want to clean all that up before it gets proper rot. Yeah, maybe get some wheels done, get some new tyres, sort the exhaust out, because obviously we've got it welded up just for the time being, so I might want to get a proper exhaust. So yeah, so I want to do something with it this year. Really enjoy driving it. It's obviously a fairly rare beastie. I don't want to get it to the point of the white one where I'm scared to drive it anywhere. I just want it tidy. So yeah, that's the BRM. As you can see, the guard dog's on patrol. We've been here probably 10 or 12 years, and he's never been on a leash before, but I think he always used to sort of wander off but not go far and stay here. Now he keeps disappearing to the point where he goes out on the main road, so I've had to get him a leash. 20 metres, so he can still move around freely, but at least he doesn't disappear. I think he's got a bit of doggy dementia, bless him, because he never used to wander off, but now he just disappears. So I don't know whether he gets lost or forgets or what, I don't know. But he is getting on, bless him. So anyway, but enough of him. So under here, another thing we need to sort out as well is the gear selector. It's really crunchy into first and reverse, otherwise it's fine. You can see we've got a bit of a leak. I've changed one seal when I put it in, so I obviously need to do the other seals. So see another job, clean it all up, maybe give it a lick of paint or whatever. So yeah, so now we just got to go around and find the knock. I mean, if it's anti-roll bars and things like that, I mean, they don't look that bad, but they don't look that good either, so it could be. Obviously I can't do that while I'm holding the phone, so I'm just going to wander around and I'll let you know what I find. But yeah, obviously the subframe, front subframe there, looks just as surface rusty as the other one. The rear one's covered in oil, so that's probably in quite good condition, but I'm sure it'll the other one will clean up. I replaced this arm before, but I'll get all new ones again. The brakes are all quite new, but as I say, we go with that, but it's different carriers, so that's all right. The calipers will still be the same, I'm sure they are, and it's just the calipers that are slightly different. So we can clean all them up, and then as I say, we'll do, the underneath is quite clean, but I will wire brush it all back and give it a lick of black paint, like I did on the one that I was building before, just to give it all a good clean up. And the same with the rear beam. We'll have all this off, probably polybush everything, put it all back on. Obviously the BRM suspension's only done 50,000 miles in this car, so it might be all right. The only thing, it does hit the back box over bumps, so I think this is a ZR box, so it's probably a bit longer, so we might have to get an exhaust made. I mean, once the suspension's compressed, it does miss, but you can see it obviously has hit it at some point because there's a little dent in there. So yeah, that's something we'll have to notice when we have an exhaust done. Shame, because it's a Scorpion. It'd be nice just to have the front done, but I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. Strip this down, pull the tank. See the tank's here. Just clean that up and give that a lick of paint, just to make sure. Put a new pump in it. And then, yeah, clean up with a wire wheel, all this, paint it all. Obviously, that'll all come out with the tank. It's fairly clean under it, it's not too bad, so I'd like to try and protect it. So, yeah. Right, well, I've had a little play around with the bar. The only things that seem worn are the anti-roll bar links. So, we're going to replace those anyway, so I'm not too worried about it now. But what I did notice was there's a bit of a gap there. Oh, these are loose then. That's probably what my knocking is. Right, I've tightened them up. The heads are too small for 15, too big for 14, so I've used an adjustable for now. So they're tight, but they're going to need replacing. I'll have to get some bolts of the right thread with a decent head size. We can do that when it's out. So yeah, so that should stop the knock-in that I'm getting. And then that'll do for another 2 weeks, and then we can take it off the road and strip it down and rebuild it all. I'm just looking at the Powerflex website now to look at bushes, so I'll get shopping on there.